Alright guys, let's check out the new Path of Exile Scourge trailer. I'll give you guys my thoughts and reaction. This is the full thing, so I'm super excited about this. Can't wait to see the new skills. What's the new mechanics?
Found our world. The innocent were first to die.
Oh, that looks cool. Almost reminds me of like the Abyss, like League mechanic. We see a little like trail. Is that how it works? Okay, we'll play out the full thing first, but I see on the top right there's some type of like maybe a timer, like a blood gauge or something.
They approach your world, your Raycast. You must take the fight to them.
The new enemy archetype looks pretty cool though.
Embrace the power of chaos.
Transform. Scourge tier?
Become more than mortal. Face
Unique
the
items can be
nightmare.
transformed? Okay. New skills. What is that? Fire Tornado? Improved battles. We actually already checked that out. That's actually pretty nice. This is nice quality of life. Uber endgame content. Okay. Passive rework. Resistance and we'll pause it and we'll check out all of these things in a moment. I just want to play it out without pausing. Guild hideouts, that's cool. Expedition goes core. Alright, awesome. Actually, I like that mechanic. The Tuja mechanic was cool. What is that guy with all the eyes? Hope that's a new boss.
They are the Scourge.
Okay, so it's going to be happening in just a week from now, but there's going to be a lot more information that we'll cover, and I'll go back and pause and check out things, but they're probably going to be talking about things as there's a lot of things to go ahead and cover. It's the full video. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. So far, pretty interesting to see what the league mechanic is.
Expansion contains a lot of new content and features that we'll reveal to you today. Let's start with its namesake, the Scourge Challenge League. Upon leaving Lion Eye's watch, you're startled by a figure appearing out of nowhere, trying to escape from something you can't see. She hands you a rusty-looking device called the Blood Crucible and urges you to implant it into your body. As you play through each area in the Scourge Challenge League, the Blood Crucible fills with the blood spilled by monsters you have slain. Once it reaches a certain threshold, you're able to activate the device.
Oh, okay.
This will instantly thrust you into a parallel reality, an alternate Raycast where some form of apocalyptic event is occurring. This Raycast is overrun by demons known as the Scourge. They're powerful, dangerous, and come in many forms. The more blood you have collected, the longer you can stay shifted into the parallel Raycast. But the longer you stay, the more damage you'll take. When the Crucible's blood runs out or you choose to shift back, you are instantly returned to your original location in our Raycast to continue your journey. So why enter an alternate reality to fight a horde of ravenous demons? The answer to that question is exactly what you expect from Path of Exile. You're not there to save the world, you're there to find cool items.
Okay, sorry, my
You can
camera's
put an
blocking
item
that.
inside the Blood Crucible. While you are killing the Scourge, it absorbs corruption from the alternate Raycast and focuses it onto the item. After enough kills, your item is ready to transform. When it does, it becomes corrupted.
Okay, we gotta pause it. My face isn't blocking it now. Okay, so I guess we get maybe these things in the like orange text. We get extra int requirement, but we get so there's like a give and a take.
Pair of Scourged modifiers.
This is tier
One of these is a
1. It's
beneficial
an
mod,
axe.
and one is a detrimental mod. These Scourged mods are in addition to the
Okay.
regular explicit and implicit mods or enchantments on the item. There are many powerful beneficial mods available that can really improve your item. The detrimental mods can significantly raise
Wow.
the requirements of the item, penalize your character's stats such as resistances, or outright turn off various mechanics like the ability to deal fire damage or gain charges.
Wow, that's pretty
The
big.
goal of the transformation process is to get a beneficial mod that makes your item a lot more powerful, while also rolling a
Wait,
detrimental
you can
mod.
have this on unique items. That actually adds another layer of like endgame chase items. That's really, really cool.
It doesn't hurt your build much or at all. But if you get a combination you're unhappy with, then your item is not ruined. By putting it back in the Blood Crucible and killing even more monsters in the alternate Raycast, you can transform it a second time, potentially getting a better pair of mods that overwrite the first.
All right, hold on. So before, I wanted to see if because it was a second tier, right? So we have
The plus. You can
Okay.
transform it a second time,
So right now it's 3 to 7 physical damage and plus
potentially getting a
int.
better pair of mods that overwrite the first.
Okay, so it doesn't just increase the numbers. It
Equipment
completely
can be
changes
transformed
it.
up to 3 times, and each time it guarantees a minimum tier of beneficial and detrimental mods equal to the number of times it has been transformed. By the third tier, you can start to get some very powerful effects.
Okay.
The Blood Crucible works on already corrupted items, so it's possible to add Scourged mods to items that you thought couldn't be improved any further.
So it's like more of a way to like
Talking about
re-roll
corrupted
and
items, you're going to need a way to modify their
corrupted
sockets.
items. Okay, hold on. So we have reforges the colors of sockets on a corrupted item, reforges the number of sockets on the corrupted item. Okay, this is kind of like the same if we just went to the bench and we're able to just use like Vol Orbs, but like we don't have to use them now. So I think it's cool.
Alternate Rayclast, you can find tainted chromatic orbs, tainted jeweler's orbs, and
But are these going to be
tainted orbs of
expensive? That's what I'm
which work
wondering.
exactly the same as their regular counterparts, but can only be used on corrupted items. Tainted orbs provide a significantly easier and cheaper way of modifying the
Okay, it's
sockets on their
cheaper.
corrupted items
Okay.
than the crafting bench does.
Okay.
While it's obvious that Scourged items can be among Path of Exile's most powerful endgame equipment, it's worth considering the huge impact that good Scourge modifiers can have on your run through the campaign. In our testing, we often manage to Scourge items that are far more powerful than leveling uniques. As you slay the Scourge and other monsters while shifted, the Blood Crucible gains experience and can level up.
What?
You can allocate its skill points in its own.
Hold on.
passive
I'm
skill
sorry, we gotta pause this. So I'll move my face out of the way just in case it is blocking something real quick. So we have armor items absorb more corruption. Okay. Which means I guess does that mean it upgrades
which allows you
faster?
to specialize in many aspects, such as unlocking additional item slots, faster item transformation, better transformation outcomes, the ability to transform unique items, and so on.
Oh, you have to actually get this. Oh, okay. So that's the thing that I want to spec into first.
Possible to eventually
For
allocate
sure.
every single one of the Blood Crucible skills. but
We say
it
it's
requires-
impossible or possible?
It's possible to eventually
Possible,
allocate
okay.
every single one of the Blood Crucible skills, but it requires a lot of demon slaying. Scourge's endgame is one where you control the level of risk and reward, or as we like to say in the business, it has a lot of player agency. Once you're exploring the Atlas of Worlds, you may gain the ability to place maps in the Blood Crucible alongside your equipment. When a map absorbs enough corruption and transforms, it gains a beneficial and detrimental effect in the same way that a piece of equipment does, but can also gain a modifier that changes the behavior of Scourge League in that map entirely. After all, when you combine two types of alternate realities together,
that's pretty
the results
cool.
are bound to be unpredictable.
It just does it automatically?
Maps can be transformed up to 10 times, increasing their risk and reward substantially each time.
Okay.
When a map is transformed a second or subsequent time, there's a chance that the new beneficial or detrimental modifiers stack alongside the existing ones, enhancing their power, or a chance that new modifiers are added. Be careful not to transform your maps too many times, of course, as they may become too dangerous to complete. Path of Exile Scourge
There we go.
introduces
New
6
uniques.
unique items,
6,
of which
okay.
3 have been added to the core drop pool, and 3 can be found in specific aspirational content that we'll reveal later in the livestream. Ul Natol's Vow is an amulet that effectively enables you to turn any 6-linked body armor into a 7-link.
What? Wait, what? Socketed. Non-exceptional support gems can also support skills from your body armor. Oh, what? That is insane. The huge minus on like resistances overall, but
Into this amulet, apply to skills in your body armor.
I want
While
that.
specific mods on items have allowed players to create 7-link skills in the past, this amulet lets you choose whatever support gem you want, including corrupted or awakened ones. It's only possible to find this unique item in specific content that we'll reveal later in the livestream. The new Mageblood Belt is one of the most powerful unique items to ever exist in Path of Exile. It permanently enables a number of your utility flasks, providing their benefits constantly with no work required.
Wow.
This belt means that regardless of what your build is, you'll sustain
That is
your utility
insane.
flasks during 100% of gameplay, even long boss fights. Mageblood is in the core drop pool and is exceptionally rare.
We have another belt that like a
Early
lot of
next
people
year,
want
we'll
now.
release a
That's
huge
cool.
overhaul of Path of Exile's Atlas of Worlds Endgame in the 3.17 expansion. In the meantime, though, our October Scourge expansion introduces a bunch of changes that speed up how quickly you can set up and progress through your Atlas. We're also introducing more types of ultra-challenging endgame content for top players who want to put their best characters to the test. In order to substantially shorten the length of the Atlas grind, we have reduced the number of regions from 8 to 4. This implicitly reduces the number of watchstones required from 32 to 16. We have also reduced the number of maps on the Atlas, so it's now approximately 100 plus the unique maps. We've rebalanced the bonuses for completing content so that by the time your Atlas is fully unlocked, you'll receive a slightly higher level of benefit than you did before. Because the number of regions has been halved, so have the number of Atlas passive trees.
Oh,
There are now
yeah.
4 plus the Uncharted realms. We've made each tree slightly larger and removed some less frequently used or duplicated skills. You'll still be awarded the same number of Atlas passive skill points as before. With these changes, each map you play constitutes far more progress than it previously did. About half as much work is now required to reach Path of Exile's ultimate endgame.
I'd say that's overall positive change. The real question, though, do we get
We've
talismans
also changed
buffed?
to streamline the endgame also. For example, now when you unveil a modifier, all tiers of that modifier are immediately unlocked at the crafting bench. This applies to every veiled modifier,
okay.
including the very rare ones.
Nice quality of life, too. I want to see
All
those new
Path of Exile
bosses.
leagues have an endgame component that is designed to challenge the best players with the best builds. Over time, more and more of Path of Exile's experienced players have managed to defeat the game's hardest content. Our most difficult endgame content doesn't pose as much of a challenge as it once did. In the Scourge expansion, we have added a set of new aspirational content, uber versions of Breach, Blight, Legion, an extension to Delirium's Simulacrum, and a revamp of Delve. Breach's endgame involves running Breach Stones, which can be placed in the map device to open portals to a Breach Lord's domain. For each Breach Lord, there are currently 4 tiers of Breach Stones, and you can upgrade between them using blessings. Path of Exile Scourge introduces a new tier, Flawless Breach Stones. These can't be obtained via blessings, but are instead found in the Maven encounters where you fight the Breach Lords in their most challenging forms. These Flawless Breach Stones require a substantially more powerful character to complete, but have rewards appropriate for their difficulty. Existing Breach Stones now have 2 random modifiers, from a pool that doesn't include build disabling ones, such as not being able to leech. And the new
Okay.
Flawless Breach Stones have 4 of these modifiers, which represents a significant jump in difficulty. They can drop special versions of the Grasping Male body armor, which has a specific fractured modifier themed around the Breach Lord of that domain. The Ulnatol's Vow unique amulet we revealed earlier can only be obtained through Flawless Breach Stones.
Okay. That's not going
All
to
Breach
cheat more than
Stones have been
likely.
modified so that the items you earn from monsters are now dropped in the spiral at your feet when you complete or fail the event. In addition, rare monsters and Breach domains drop an additional random reward types, such as scarabs, maps, or divination cards, with Flawless Breach Stones adding 2 additional reward types. All Breach Stones are far more rewarding than before.
Okay. That's good.
Blighted maps were previously our pinnacle Blight content and could be anointed up to 3 times to increase their difficulty and rewards. In the Scourge expansion, while you're playing Blighted maps, you may find a Blight Ravaged map. These have increased monster difficulty and are always monster level 85. They can be anointed up to 9 times with up to 3 of any one type of anointment. These incredibly challenging encounters can also yield one of Scourge's powerful new unique items. In Legion, you can combine up to 5 timeless emblems to enter the domain of timeless conflict. While playing the domain in this expansion, you can find unrelenting emblems, which can be mixed and matched with timeless emblems for a substantially more challenging and rewarding encounter. Delirium's Simulacrum encounter has been extended, with 10 additional waves of combat. As you can expect, these extremely difficult extra waves are very rewarding and feature escalating chances for a Delirium boss to spawn. With each wave you play, the Simulacrum now has increasing chances of dropping Cluster Jewels and past wave 20 Delirium unique items. Previously, you could only get a maximum of 1 Delirium unique item per Simulacrum, but now you can walk out with multiple high-value items such as Voices. Simulacrums not only represent a lot more value now, but also an opportunity to truly test your character against some of Path of Exile's hardest content.
I feel like Ignite destroyed me last league on this Delirium mechanic.
Due to less popular ones like Prophecy and Talisman being removed entirely.
Because normally I'd be fully ailment
We've
immune,
made
but
quite a few changes to Delve in the Scourge
until I got
expansion.
that, it was pretty
The
rough.
first change is that we have completely rebalanced the entire thing so it's just more rewarding and more challenging at earlier depths. In general, monsters scale to have more life but less damage than before. We've improved monster skills and bio modifiers to make deeper depths more challenging to go with their better rewards.
Okay. That's good.
Due
I wish
these
you could
changes,
go
we've
to
widened
the,
step
like,
that Delve
deeper
uses that have
faster.
retained your previous depth on your characters. To get back on the ladder, just play at whatever depth you were still able to complete. We've also improved the Delve catch-up mechanic,
Oh, this is good.
Previously,
This is
if you
exactly what I said.
entered the first time at level 90, you'd be taken to a depth that is the equivalent of tier 1 maps. Now we'll be taken to the equivalent of tier
Oh,
13 maps.
yes.
This means that if you want,
That's
you
so
can
much
essentially
better.
ignore Delve until the late game rather than having to play as you go. We've
Perfect.
increased the base soul fight cap from 600 to 1200. Underground cities are now more common, and you'll encounter bosses more often, including all.
Awesome.
You can
Nice
rarely
change.
find fractured items with Delve modifiers on them. We've also increased fossil and resonator availability throughout the Azurite mine. Fossil availability outside of Delve has been reduced. All resonators drops are now chaotic resonators, with alchemical resonators not dropping anymore. We've also improved the least powerful fossils.
Okay, let's see some of these new
It's been a long time
skills.
since we've done a big rework of Path of Exile's iconic passive skill tree. The Scourge expansion includes quite a lot of changes, and before I list them, I want to emphasize that our goal here has been to keep the tree as similar to before as possible. All of your years of muscle memory will not be wasted. The tree will still feel like the back of your hand, despite our changes. While planning this rework, we examined every aspect of the passive skill tree. We reviewed and improved each of the tree's class start areas, we added new clusters of skills, improved existing ones, and concentrated power more directly on each skill's primary function. The process of doing this identified that many passive skills had niche stats that didn't matter to most characters or distracted away from the purpose of what the skill was trying to do. When we took niche stats away from a skill, we buffed the primary function of the skill so that it was more concentrated on one purpose. While I'm sure that powerful passive skills sound great to you, you're probably wondering what happened to all of those niche stats. You see, while we were doing this revamp, we realized that specific build-enabling niche stats appearing in specific locations on the tree actually constrained players' passive builds in quite severe ways. Players who wanted to get several specific niche stats often had little flexibility with the rest of their tree because they had to plan around getting to the specific clusters that had those niche stats in them. We decided we wanted to solve both problems at once here, to move niche stats off the main tree, but also to provide a way to get them, preferably from many different locations all over the passive skill tree. And that's how we came up with a passive masteries system. Outside of the class start locations, all passive skill clusters that have a notable passive in them now contain a passive mastery. When you allocate the first notable passive in each cluster, a mastery becomes available to allocate in that cluster. When you spend a passive skill point on the mastery, you can choose a specific stat to gain. This list is shared with all the clusters on the tree that have the same theme, so you can travel to any of them to get the stat you want. As you allocate a mastery stat, it's crossed off the list for that theme. This mastery system has essentially let us add hundreds of powerful new notable passives that you can access from all over the tree. In addition to the stats that we moved into masteries when consolidating power on the rest of the tree, we got to come up with a bunch of new interesting niche stuff to enable even more builds.
That's pretty cool.
We've also rebalanced a few keystone passives, changed the locations of some, and added 6 new keystones to the tree.
Okay. Feel free to pause it here. I'm not going to read all of these right now because they were in like one of the other notes that we went over.
Coming from core passives and a selection of build-enabling niche stats available on masteries for you to pick between.
This is pretty cool. This is like awesome. I like the artwork too on it.
Path of Exile Scourge introduces a whole variety of new skill gems with many
This is what we're here for.
2 of them are new concepts unlike anything we have done before. These ones are designed to immediately create entirely new builds that have a lot of potential. There's also a utility skill that will help characters stay alive, a variation on an existing skill gem, and 6 new gems designed for party play. Let's go
10
through the new
gems.
skills.
Yes. Okay.
Energy Blade is a new skill that transforms your melee weapons into, well, energy blades. A large portion of your energy shield is converted into the lightning damage that these blades deal. This opens up an entirely new melee energy shield archetype, where you want to stack as much energy shield as possible to get the most powerful blades you can.
That's cool.
Conveniently, the defenses rework in this expansion is very compatible with this plan. Temporal Rift is a new utility skill that allows you to rewind your character's state by 4 seconds. After activating the skill, it starts storing your position, life, mana, and energy shield values every quarter second. When you use the skill again, you will rerun back to 4 seconds ago.
That's a very
The build
interesting
shown here uses
choice.
the Forbidden Right skill introduced in the last expansion. This skill does a lot of damage, but also
Is it
hurts
nerfed with the
caster when
totem?
used. Temporal Rift allows this player to snapshot their full life orb, cast Forbidden Right a lot, and then revert back to full life to keep casting.
Okay.
Not only is Temporal Rift incredibly useful in hardcore mode for obvious reasons, while exploring maps efficiently, but it also enables some interesting tricks with mana. Come to think of it, it'll be pretty cool in Delve as well if you don't mess up the timing. Temporal
Yeah,
Rift also prevents
that's such a
temporal
cool
chains from affecting you
idea.
while it is in use.
Like, that's like a next level IQ for like
Tornado
game
is
design.
another
I
new
love
skill.
it.
As the name
Okay.
suggests, it creates a tornado that relentlessly moves towards enemies and pulses with damage. While the tornado is forming, you have a couple of seconds
Spell.
where it will
Okay.
absorb damage from projectiles you hit it with.
Oh.
Fire as many projectiles as you can into it during that period, and it'll power up, greatly increasing its damage output.
So you can have any element. That's kind of cool. Maybe we'll do like an
In the
Eye of
Expedition
Winter
expansion, we introduced a
tornado.
skill called Explosive Concoction. Based on player feedback, we're improving the skill so that its projectiles are thrown faster, have a higher base crit chance, and have greater speed. Now that we feel that Explosive Concoction is sufficiently powerful, we're introducing a similar new skill called Poisonous Concoction. As the name implies, this one deals poison damage rather than fire damage, and consumes charges from your life flasks rather than your elemental flasks.
Okay.
Poisonous Concoction scales its damage based on how much life the consumed flasks recover, which encourages you to craft your flasks to take advantage of this. It's quite rare for us to introduce skills that only work for party play, but in the Scourge expansion, we've created a set of 6 that function in similar ways but do different things. These link skills create a bond between you and a specific party member,
What the
providing a
heck?
big benefit to them while they stay within range, but with the very important drawback that if they die, so do you.
That's gonna be so funny for hardcore.
Soul Link protects your target by causing a percentage of damage they are dealt to be applied to your energy shield instead. If you have built a tanky character with a lot of energy shield, then you and your target will be protected by it. Protective Link grants your target a chance to block attacks that is equal to yours, and also grants some life gain on block to them. By default, the obvious use of this Link skill is to allow you to specialize in block, and then use it to protect an ally that is specialized in something else, like damage. But there are some cool tricks you might discover. For example, the Glancing Blows keystone passive doubles your block chance, but changes that so that you still take some damage from blocked attacks. In conjunction with Protective Link, though, your target will receive your doubled block chance, but won't receive the drawback.
Oh, okay.
Intuitive Link is socketed alongside a spell on your character, and that spell is triggered from your target's location when they hit an enemy. This could be useful, for example, if you have a party member who's cycloning through enemies, and you can trigger your spells from within those packs of enemies without having to get close yourself.
Very
There are
interesting.
3 other Link skills that we will reveal closer to release. As this expansion does include significant nerfs to Aura bot characters who stack auras for the benefit of their party members, these Link skills give them a viable, more active playstyle.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Skills
change,
cannot normally be
honestly.
used with your minions, but we're adding a minion
Oh.
mastery to the passive skill tree that
I was
allows
just
you
gonna
to
talk
use
about
Link
that.
skills with them. However, this has a high ongoing mana cost that is difficult to stay on top of.
Oh, okay. That could be really, really
With Exile
fun.
Scourge, we've done a lot of balance work improving flasks, ailment mitigation, general character defenses, and elemental damage over time. We have made some changes to how stacking auras and curses works, and have buffed most awakened support gems. We've posted about the changes we intend in the last couple of weeks, and have been iterating on these changes based on testing and your feedback. We are posting the full Scourge patch notes after the Q&A portion of this livestream, so we'd encourage you to check out the full details of the balance changes there. We first introduced guilds alongside Path of Exile's initial release in October 2013. Our guild leaders and members have been patient for a very long time, and after 8 years, we're rewarding that patience with a wave of guild quality of life features. As a game about items, the functional heart of a Path of Exile guild is its stash. You can finally control-click items into and out of your guild
that's
stash
so
and
helpful.
access other features such as the drop-down list of stashes, drag-and-drop stash ordering, affinities, etc. We've
Awesome.
also introduced guild versions of all of the types of premium stash tabs, so guilds can finally enjoy popular tabs such as currency or
You
mana
made a
tabs.
happy face.
While shared guild tabs are a little more expensive than individual tabs because of their server costs and development overhead, we have bundled all of the exotic ones together in a single discounted bundle for guilds that want
Oh,
to
nice.
invest in the whole lot at once.
It's awesome.
We've also added the ability to export a CSV file of your guild stash activity log for convenient auditing. We wanted to pair functional with fun, so we've introduced guild
Wow.
hideouts.
That's
Guild leaders can
awesome.
select any in-game or microtransaction hideout that they have unlocked and create a guild hideout based on that template. These hideouts are a great place to hold guild meetings or to just have as a space for members to meet up between maps. If you're hanging out in your guild's hideout, you can use its map device as though it was your own.
Ah, that's awesome. So you
We
can still
understand that
just
not everyone is
hang
equal,
out.
So there's one hideout-related feature that we wanted to mention. We have entirely removed the favor system from Path of Exile. From this expansion onwards, all hideout decorations that could previously be obtained with favor are now available to all players in unlimited quantities. both
That's
personal
really
and
awesome.
hideouts. Now, there's
Wow.
nothing stopping you from making the hideout of your dreams.
What? That's amazingly
We've
nice.
also added a system that allows you to filter decorations by tag because there are just so many available to you by
Oh
default.
yeah, for sure. These are all like positive changes for like the
Alongside Path of
hideout.
Exile Scourge, we're introducing the Expedition content from our last expansion into Path of Exile's core game, with a few adjustments. Expedition artifacts are no longer tradable items, which has two key effects. The first is that they are automatically collected as you complete expeditions.
Oh
And the
yes.
second is that all characters can now engage with the Calgaro merchants without having to feel that their best plan is to trade the currency away to other players who may use it more efficiently than them. It's a difficult decision working out whether to make specific items tradable or not, but we feel that
Rog
on
was
balance,
insanely
this new approach
awesome.
will solve several problems with the system. It's also worth noting that the currency items that allow you to re-roll the vendor's inventories are still tradable.
Oh
You'll
okay.
start finding expeditions from Act 6 onwards. There's an 8% chance for a map to contain an expedition, and they can be further augmented through investment in the appropriate Atlas passive skill tree.
Yeah, I think Tudrin's like the
As we move
really
into
easy, friendly
we'll
one.
replace
Oh,
outdated, obsolete content. In this case, Expedition replaces Perandus. Details
Rip.
are in the patch notes.
Rip Francis. They have a tumbleweed. That's pretty good. Wow, there's just so much content
While
here.
clicking on items is a critical part of playing an
Oh.
action RPG, there's a fine line before it becomes a chore, and we're trying hard to make sure that clicks on items come with appropriate reward. Expedition artifacts being automatically picked up isn't the only improvement we're making to reduce unnecessary clicks in this expansion. In order to make sure that each stack of currency items is worth a click, we're trying out a system where currency items drop less frequently, but in larger stack sizes.
Okay.
For example, Scrolls of Wisdom in the late game might drop 1/10 of the time, but when they do, it'll be in stacks of 6 to 14. This means that the click that you will make will gain you a much more meaningful amount of currency at once. We have applied this to many different types of currency items, and the effect of the system gets larger as you get further into the game. In addition, we've had a look at instances where item drops happen simultaneously, and we've made it so that items that can drop in stacks will automatically do so. This includes at the end of delves, incursions, rituals, blight encounters, breach zones, and the simulacrum. We have also applied this approach
That's
to many
nice.
chests and areas like splinter drops throughout Path of Exile. Before we move on to our final announcement and live Q&A, let's have a quick look at the new set of supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the launch of Path of Exile Scourge and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile. Based on player feedback, we've increased the value of the $30 and $60 supporter packs by adding $5 worth of points to each one. This means that you now receive the full value of
That one looks
spent
cool.
points, with the new sets of exclusive cosmetic microtransactions on top. These include armor sets, weapon skins, portals, shields, and helmet attachments. The Ancient Dread pack contains an exclusive pair of wings, and the Intrepid Liege pack contains an exclusive pet. These new packs each have 3 value tiers that you can upgrade between within their respective series.
That portal
Thank you
looks
so much
awesome.
for your support. Purchases of these supporter packs make expansions like Scourge possible.
That's an awesome portal.
Shortly,
Yeah.
we'll begin our Q&A and we'll answer your burning questions. But first, we have another quick announcement.
Oh, okay, cool.
In the Expedition League, we teamed up with Twitch Rivals to run our first ever Path of Exile Royale live tournament. This event saw our favorite content creators teaming up in pairs to compete for awesome prizes. We're excited to announce that following the launch of Path of Exile Scourge, we're doing it again. This time around, competitors will compete alone, but we've added a unique twist. Towards the end of the match, surviving players may encounter a brutal but rewarding boss fight, which could have significant strategic implications for how they play the match. There's $30,000 of cash on the line alongside some of Path of Exile's best microtransactions. Tune in on October 28th at twitch.tv/twitchrivals to see who will decimate their competition.
Okay.
That concludes the reveal portion of this live stream. Keep an eye on our news next week as we reveal more details about the Scourge expansion.
Okay.
In the
I'm
meantime,
excited
these
about
reveals
this.
are already
Okay,
live
I
on
think that's
YouTube.
going to be
It'll
pretty
link
much
to
it.
your friends in case they want
So
subscriptions.
first off, I want to go ahead and mention there's one thing I did want to show off because I didn't really make a video on it, but I did want to go over it. This is the amulet that they were talking about. So this amulet can have 3 additional enchantments. This is just another unique item. Figured I'd show it off since I thought it was pretty cool considering you can get a lot of the different notables that would be super far away. Specifically being able to get your frenzy charges, power charges, and not have to like use a lot of skill points. This is a really cool amulet. It's probably going to be pretty expensive though, but it's in blight ravaged maps. But going over all of my thoughts now, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of play it in the background because there's just so much to cover. I think in terms of the league mechanic, I like the idea of like being able to modify the item, adding like a positive and a negative. The only concern I have is like, can you? I'm guessing you cannot see what the modifier is, and if it requires like plus a huge amount of like one stat, and you put it on the weapon that you're using to level up, it might feel kind of bad if you're like, okay, now I need like 30 extra, of strength dex, which is, it might be just one skill, skill point that you have to invest into it to get whatever bonus that it does have. But then like later when you modify it even more, you won't need it anymore. It's kind of weird, but that's kind of just like how corrupting items work, I guess, with the mechanic. And since you can corrupt unique items, I think that this is going to be cool. Like it's for everyone, because I generally like to stick with unique items. The reason why is because like if I'm playing a build and people want to copy, I try to stick with a set of unique items just so it's easier for people to obtain, or I give them a suggestion just so they can get pretty much the same build, because some of the best items in the game, crafting for a new player is kind of rough. And with this new mechanic, it's going to be RNG, but like look at this 29 int requirement, you get a nice benefit for it. But I guess if it doesn't even have any in the very beginning, if it doesn't have any requirement, it's not really that bad, because you'll get it naturally as you progress. There usually is some notable that will give you plus to the 2 stats that like isn't near your tree that you end up getting, because it'll give you extra life or whatever the area is. I think it's cool. So here's my thoughts wrapping it up. I think the league mechanic is going to definitely support people going faster, because you fill up that thing with blood, then you can go ahead and use it. So I'm probably going to try to favor running a fast build. I generally like to run bows, but this is one thing that I'm going to have to take into consideration. They didn't even mention it here, which was interesting. So like dodge is completely gone, and now they have some like you take reduced spell damage via another mechanic. It's going to be interesting to see how hard it is to play bow. I'm going to try to use the new like tornado. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to do like a tornado shot and then use like the anomalous one, or like anomalous. It's one of the alternate quality tornado shots that changes it into some form of elemental damage, and then you can get one of the was it Doom Fletcher's prism with tornado shot, which could be interesting to try to modify the tornado. And I'm curious to know with the tornado, if we modify it with fire, is it going to try to ignite? With cold, is it going to have like a chance to chill or freeze, or like what is it going to be able to do? That's what I want to know, but we'll have to mess around with that, obviously, kind of get a feel for it, because even if the item or even if the gem sounds really good, sometimes in practicality when you have these crazy ideas and you feel with the skill, you have like a gameplay session, the feel of the skill just doesn't feel good and like responsive. And as far as the new skills go, that one that lets you like kind of reverse in time, like kind of like you go back in time like in Tracer with Overwatch, does that change your flash charges, or does it just change like your life mana? Does it also go back with your frenzy charges? Could we use it with like maybe like a flicker strike build? I don't know, I'm just coming up with too many ideas, and that's probably not necessary for this video. I like how we get skill points, and I want to see all the skill trees. I'm going to go ahead and check up on Reddit to see if they added any new like skills, because sometimes they do announce on like Twitter and stuff there are other like new uniques and stuff where people will data mine and find it out a couple days before it comes out. But yeah, I'll definitely give you guys my thoughts on like some of the new unique items, because that's going to determine what I want to play. And like I said, because it's going to favor a fast play style, at least it seems like it, I definitely want to try to see if we can get like a bow build going. But bow builds are really hard to recommend for beginner players, because they're so expensive to get to like red maps to be like very viable, at least in my opinion, compared to running a caster, because casters you get the plus, like you can get a staff +3 to like cold gems, and it's like it just makes things so much easier. But who knows, maybe there'll be something else that will really benefit bows, and since they're training up the tree with the whole dodge mechanic, I don't know how confident I'm going to be giving it a starter build guide for whatever I'm building with bows, because again, it's this mechanic. I mean, with chain, you can just clear up content so fast. But anyways, ranting now. I'm really excited about the league, and I'm curious to know via watching this video or just your thoughts in general, what do you plan to maybe even play? Do you have an idea? For me, like I said, I'm going to be going bow because it's definitely one of the faster builds in the game. Is it the safest? No, absolutely not. But anyways, thanks for tuning, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you want to see more Path of Exile content, obviously when the league launches, I'm trying to think if I want to do a beginner guide this league. I could definitely go all the way up until like yellow maps confidently with some like some of the untested builds, like there's no problem for me. But to recommend a beginner guide to get to red maps, sometimes with bows, I feel like it's rough. But anyways, we're gonna try to do it probably anyways. So if you do want to see more Path of Exile content or other actual like action RPG content in the future, subscribe, turn that bell, and definitely see more very soon. Take care. I'm out. Peace.